Outperforming the S&P 500. Very, very difficult. Very few people do it. Is it possible? Well, I'm going to give you the tool that I use to attempt to do it and give you a running start. So first of all, let me just give you the tool. So here we have a chart. This is on TradingView, by the way, but many charting platforms have this functionality. So I'll put the S&P 500 down here as my primary market, and it's in black, thick black line. Now the key is to change this where the right axis is not measuring prices, but it's measuring percentages. So we go down here, click on the percentage. All right, boom, and there we go. And that is the key. So now it can be called different things depending on the charting platform you're using. Sometimes they call it a percent change chart, but that's the whole key. Is you want to see, all right, what percentage change is happening in each of these markets. You can put whatever markets you want up over here. Got a few of them, as you can see. Now, so this is the key. Visually, we see that, and you can go back different times that you want. You can use different time frames too. This is a daily chart, by the way, but you can use this for intraday trading if you prefer as well. So what we got here is now we're seeing the relative movement of other markets to the S&P 500. So S&P 500 from this date back here, which, let's see, we got it going back to November 11th. All right, and the date of this recording is on the 16th is the last date on this particular chart, actually. And so you'll see that the S&P from that time period is down. And here's our percentage over here, 3.78%. Okay, so no bueno, not good, we're losing money, don't like it. Can we do better? Can we do better? So what I'm looking for is a couple of things. We're going to look at the lines. We're going to look for them to just visibly move above where the S&P 500 is. So got a few examples here. So this one is the one that really dramatically went up, and that is BZ. So BZ, Chinese company. And as you can see, dramatically outperformed. So what we're looking for is, and what I like to do is a couple of different things. So let me bring up my drawing tool here. Is I will, let's see, what color should we use here? We'll use line, and what's going to stand out here? Red. Red will stand out pretty well. All right, so I'm looking and I say, oh, okay, boom, it started out outperforming, and then I want to see a bit of a retrace, and then I'm going to draw a trend line. Boom, there we go. So we got a trend line coming down, and I want to see it break that trend line and go back up to the upside. So there's two different techniques. That's one. That's the one that will get you in the earliest, but as is usual, the thing that gets you in the earliest also incurs a little bit more risk. So trend line breaks, markets that outperform and then retrace and then go back to outperforming, boom, that's where we go. And this one, again, as opposed to losing like I'll just round out the numbers, losing like 3% or making 25%, I think I'll take the making 25% one, right? And so that's one example. Okay, let's take that off. And then as far as techniques go, another technique that you could use is just looking for it to break the previous high. So here's the high, and that would get us in right there. Gets in a little bit later, but not too much in this particular case. And again, you're just looking for what? So we're making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and then boom, looking to take out the previous high. And up she goes. Okay, great. Now let's take a look at another one here. So this time I'm gonna, let me take off the drawing tool so I can actually click on one of these. There we go. So I'm clicking on the orange line, as you can see. Okay, and the orange line is, there it is. Oh, yes, our good friend at MicroStrategies. By the way, I'm not recommending any particular stocks here. I'm just showing techniques, and by the time you watch this video, things could be very, very different, of course. So this is the tool. I'm sharing with you a tool that you could use and add to your own arsenal if you so choose. But the technique, again, going to be the same. And so we're looking, okay, it outperformed. and then we draw our trend line. Whoops, actually this one would be better. Oops, I missed that one there. So this one is down here. So now we could look, this is one where we don't really have a trend going down, but we could use the previous high. Okay, so there's the previous high off of there. Thought I got a red line, didn't. Let's do the red line just to be consistent. Okay, there you go. And so boom, breaks above it. Okay, breaks above its previous high and breaks above the S&P. And then, up she goes. Now, again, notice when we talk about it breaking above the S&P, this is all relative strength. It's percentage moves, not dollar amount move. But that's okay because, in fact, that's fantastic because that's what we want to do. We want to make higher percentage returns than we would on the S&P or whatever. So this is just a great way of looking at it from a relative percent change point of view. All right, so now that we've looked at that, let's also bring into play another very, very important thing, and that is exits. So this is all sweet, nice, and great, but you might have already noticed this, and if you did, congratulations. So, for example, MicroStrategy's up, 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 and then where are we now, though? So let me again change the color here to red. Red looks pretty good. Now MicroStrategies went up. Okay, we outperformed here, and then it kind of went sideways. But now MicroStrategy is way back down here, basically back to zero from where we started. And so now that begs the question of, well, wait a minute. Okay, but now it hasn't outperformed. So the key is you can't stay in these things forever. You gotta be able to get out. It seems like to me it should be obvious, but nothing's going to outperform forever necessarily. So it's all about timing and when to get in, when to get out. So don't overstay your welcome. When you got profits, lock them in. Don't allow it to go back and, sure, you would have technically outperformed the S&P by 3%, but you wouldn't have made any money because the S&P is down 3%, and MicroStrategy's back to zero. So who cares, right? It's not, it's a little bit of a benefit, but exits become part of this. Now, for exits, you can do a couple of things. Number one is you can go back to your trend lines. So, or just go to your lows if you want to. All right. So you can actually go to there, or you could go to this one. You could say, I'm going to get out there. If you were back up to here with BZ, okay, then you might still be waiting for an exit and still might be in it and just say, okay, that's going to be my exit. That's one way to do it. Another way, my preference is actually to go over to the regular candlestick pattern or regular candlestick chart. In fact, even when I enter, by the way, I should share this, even when I enter, I'm going to go and actually hit the trade on a regular chart, a candlestick chart of that market. So I'm just using this tool to help me find a market that's starting to outperform in the S&P. Then I'm going to go look to a regular chart, candlestick chart with the indicators that I use and so forth for actual entry. And there I use my cycle indicator. I use the cycle indicator, enter and exit every trade I take. Any market, any time frame. I'm always using this indicator for that. If you want to get that, you can get my cycle indicator at indicatorwebinar.com. And by the way, it's an indicator that's already in your chatting platform, which is nice, but we modify it. And then there's certain patterns we trade on it. So that's why I have to put it in a webinar, because I teach you all of that. But it's free, absolutely free, my gift to you. And that's what I use for my precision. So again, I use this chart to determine which stock, by the way, this will work for stocks, Forex, futures, cryptos. I use it for all these markets. That helps me choose which market to trade. And then I go to the regular chart with my cycle indicator, etc. And that's where I look to actually take my entries and my exits. So if you like this video and you want to hear more, please subscribe and you'll get notifications of when I do future videos, more good stuff like this.